Hey, this is a 5-minute strategy that you can use to activate your students' meaning and context processors and get them thinking more deeply about words. This is something that I came up with after looking at the 4-part processor and trying to figure out how do I go beyond using analogies to activate my students' meaning and context processors specifically, but also while still working a little bit with the orthographic and phonological processors. Because as we discussed during letters, session one, we in the middle school really are working with vocabulary needs generally more often than phonics needs. That's more for the tier 2 and tier 3 classes, but this does work for our tier 2 and tier 3 reading and ELA classes. So give this a shot and let me know what you think about it if you've been using analogies with your kids a little bit. So semantics involves word meanings and relationships and deeper word structures. And this activity is really designed to get at that and give the kids a model by which to practice using semantics. Because as you'll see in just a moment, they're going to have to actually rank and form a hierarchy of the words just like their brain already has. But they're making themselves conscious of it. And that, I think, is what's going to make the difference for a lot of kids. One thing to keep in mind that we did mention during letters is that virtually every word in English has more than one meaning, which makes it very difficult to teach vocabulary because it always comes with a caveat of this time it means this. By activating the semantic processor that students have, we prepare them and prime them to be able to switch more fluently between these meanings because they will have considered them more deeply. And we know from Perfetti's lexical hypothesis that the deeper and better a student knows the aspects of a word in all of its cases, the more quickly it can be recalled for both reading comprehension and also spelling and speaking. So what is a semantic line? This is an activity that I came up with. I probably reinvented the wheel, to be honest here, but it's something that I was looking for an answer for, and after a little bit of reading through my manual, it kind of came to me. So think of a number line in math and now replace the numbers with words. Proximity implies closer relationship and meaning, while distance implies an increasing degree of antonymity. I don't know what the actual word was that I was going for. I came up with that. It gets the point across. Students will fill in this line by evaluating and placing words on the semantic line to represent their relationship to one another. They're ranking the words from one side to the other. I found it takes about 5 minutes, but it can work with every content area, and it can work across multiple domains of language, multiple layers of language. The point of these activities is to get kids to think about how the words that they already know are related, or new vocab words that you're introducing are related, and give us a formative assessment about the breadth of their vocabulary. I would not use this as any kind of summative assessment. I would really only use this as formative, partly because of the subjectivity of defining words. So here's an example of what it actually looks like when I did this with my kids the other day. I printed this out for the kids who were here in person on Wednesday, and then I had it up asynchronously for the other students. We did another one of these on Friday using Jamboard with little sticky notes to move around. So I gave them the word easy. We talked about the type of word, it's an adjective, and then we found the antonym, which was hard. On the sheet that I gave my students, they had to fill in the antonym. They only had the word easy to start with. And then for my 6th graders, I actually provided this word bank for them at the bottom because I felt like from previous experiments, they were really having a hard time drumming up the antonyms, or I'm sorry, the synonyms and antonyms. My 7th and 8th graders didn't need it as much, but if you need to differentiate or if you want to highlight specific vocabulary words and keep them on track, use the word bank. So as it gets filled in, you have all of your words get arrayed. Some students are going to see these a little bit differently, and that's okay because we know that there is a little bit of flexibility to how we define words. It's something to talk about with kids, particularly, as an SEL lesson. Maybe what I say is not what you hear. You know what I mean? All right. So these are just a couple of examples. I've only got 30 seconds left in the video. These are a couple of examples of how semantic lines can be used. You've got sensory, you've got adjectives, verbs, emotional. I'm sure there are more categories than these. The ones in bold are the ones that I have personally tried in my classes so far. The kids have responded very well to them when they participate, of course. But I think if you give this a shot, you're going to enjoy it. If you do, let me know.